जय जय गौरभक्तवृन्द जय जय श्री चैतन्य जय नित्यानंद जय द्वैत चंद्र जय गौरभक्तवृन्द हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So yesterday we read that how to take care of the seed of devotional service that our spiritual master, bona fide spiritual master, and the Supreme Lord Krishna has given us. So Srila Prabhupada gave a very beautiful description of each and every point. Then Srila Prabhupada also mentioned about what to take care of. We should not let other animals come and attack the plant that we are taking care of, the plant of devotional service. And what are those animals? They represent the offenses. And the most dangerous offense is the Vaishnav aparat. It is like a mad elephant. If you let the mad elephant enter a beautiful garden, it will completely destroy it. So we should be very careful of this Vaishnav aparat. And if we take care of all these aspects, then the plant of devotional service will be properly protected. An offense to a pure devotee is one of the 10 offenses against the holy name. So there are 10 offenses that can be committed against the holy name. So when we chant, there are certain offenses that we should be careful about. The first offense is to blaspheme the great devotees who have tried to spread the glories of the holy name all over the world. Many people, they blaspheme, they speak ill about Vaishnavas, they speak ill about the great devotees, the acharyas, or even other Vaishnavas who are trying to spread the glories of the holy name, who are trying to give Krishna consciousness to others. They speak ill, they blaspheme these devotees. This is the first offense against the holy name. So if somebody is chanting the holy name, they will not get taste for it. They will not get the mercy immediately because they are committing this offense. There may be people who are chanting, but if they are criticizing or if they are speaking ill about or bad things about a devotee, about a Vaishnav, then that is an offense, and the holy name will not shower its mercy on such a person. The greatest offender at the feet of the holy name is the rascal who is envious of such devotees. Now, Srila Prabhupada has used very strong words, and Srila Prabhupada has mentioned that these are words that are these are words that are not used by him. They are words used by Krishna in the scriptures in Sanskrit. And the meaning is actually rascal. Why? Because Krishna is the supreme father. Everybody is the son and daughter. And if somebody is envious of devotees, because devotees are most dear to Krishna, and if somebody is envious to such a devotee, then Krishna feels extremely unhappy, unpleased by such a person. And that is why when a father is angry, father has all the right to chastise the child. So similarly, Krishna has all the right to chastise the child. Srila Prabhupada, who is an acharya, he is the ever well-wisher of each and every living entity. What to speak of only human beings, each and every living entity. There are so many incidences where Srila Prabhupada was preaching and there was a cat. If I'm not mistaken, there was a cat which came, and Srila Prabhupada immediately identified the soul within the body and said that this person had committed offenses against the spiritual master in the past birth and therefore had to take birth again and come in this cat body. Srila Prabhupada delivered that cat. So Srila Prabhupada is most compassionate beyond our understanding, because we don't have that compassion. We cannot understand that level of compassion that Srila Prabhupada has. So Srila Prabhupada here is saying the greatest offender at the feet of the holy name, we say Harinam Prabhu. Hari is Krishna. Harinam is actually manifestation of Krishna in the holy name. So Harinam Prabhu. Before chanting, we should beg for mercy. We should beg for blessing from Harinam Prabhu, the the personality of the holy name. And anybody who is committing such great offenses at the feet of the holy name, is the greatest rascal, because that person is envious of devotees. And such a devotee only can speak bad about devotees. I mean, such a person only who is envious can speak bad about devotees, because devotees are giving their life, their soul, everything is Krishna, and for the benefit of all humanity. So, such a person is the greatest offender. And if somebody offends the holy name, there is no other way. And what is that? Harer Nam, Harer Nam, Harer Nam Eva Kevalam. Kalau Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatir Anyatha. Without the holy name, there is no other way, no other way, no other way to come out of this cycle. And if somebody is committing offense at the feet of holy name, and if somebody is offending the holy name, then there is no way out for such a person. The holy name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna, and Lord Krishna cannot tolerate offenses against a pure devotee who, following the order of his spiritual master, is spreading the holy name all over the world. The second offense is to deny that Lord Vishnu is the absolute truth. If somebody says, "Arey, Lord Vishnu is theek hai, but actually so and so is actually God. That is also God. He is also God." And many people say that, okay, Lord Shiva is also God, and Lord Kartikeya is also God, and Ganesh is also God. These are offenses. This is the second offense. Lord Vishnu is the absolute truth. Everybody else is all the other demigods. They are called demigods. Why? They are servants of the Supreme Lord. So, this is the second offense. If somebody says that, oh, everybody is God, he is God, she is God, everybody is God, that is wrong. Since there is no difference between the Lord and his name, qualities, form, and pastimes or activities, one who sees a difference is considered an offender. If somebody thinks that, okay, uh, the so God exists only in the temple, and outside, when we go to the dham, we pollute the dham. We are throwing some, we have drank some fruity or some cold drinks or some water, and we are just, uh, putting the trash here and there, and we are not considerate that this dham is same, is non-different from Krishna. The dust of dham is not different from Krishna. When we think that the holy name is different from Krishna, these are all offenses. When we think that the pastimes of Lord Krishna, that means Srimad Bhagavatam, ठीक है, the Srimad Bhagavatam is fine, but Krishna is in the deities only. That we should go there and offer our obeisances. That is wrong. That is an offense. If there is Srimad Bhagavatam in the house, we should understand Krishna is personally present in the house. Deities in the house, Krishna is personally present in the house. When we are cooking for the Lord and we are offering with love and devotion, that becomes prasad, because Krishna is accepting. That prasad is equal to the Supreme Lord Krishna. If somebody thinks what we are eating is food, then that is offense. If that is offered to Krishna, of course. If it is not offered, then it is not food, it is poison. So, all these, if somebody finds a difference, then it is an offense. The Lord being the supreme, no one is equal to or greater than him. Consequently, one who thinks that the name of some demigod is equal to the Lord's name, that person is also an offender. Offender where? Offender at the lotus feet of the holy name. This is Nam Aparad, all the 10 offenses of the holy name. So, considering some demigod to be equal to the Lord or greater than the Lord is offense. The Supreme Lord and the demigods should never be considered on the same level. Actually, there is, I remember one incident. Somebody very close to me, this person was very, very favorable in Krishna consciousness, and this person was also very attracted to the form of Krishna, to the form of Gaur Nitai. But then at some point of time, suddenly, because association is very important, who we are associating with, who we are discussing things with, who we are talking to, what we are listening to, very, very important. So at one point, this person somehow started arguing that no, Lord Shiva is the supreme Lord, and these ISKCON people, they have concocted the message, and it is all wrong. So when this kind of attitude came, it's devotees. It's always important that we understand where to give time and where not to waste time. So I was like, okay, fine. And now I see that this person is completely is does not have any interest or does not have any attraction for uh, the form of the Lord or anything about Krishna. So, and this person used to chant also, but the person has lost all taste in chanting. So here what it is said, that if you commit this offense, you will lose taste for the holy name. Or even if somebody is chanting, the taste will not be there. It will just be very mechanical. So this is a proof. Whatever is said is so true, because I have myself seen this, and not just one person, several. But this is somebody who was very close to me. So we should be very careful when we what we hear and what we accept and what we think. So first thing is, the knowledge that we have should be, I mean, our foundation should be proper. If our foundation, if we build a house on complete sand, quicksand, what will happen? The house will get completely drowned. I mean, you cannot live in that house. So we should be, first thing we should make sure is our foundation of the philosophy, of the knowledge of what we are doing, why we are doing, should be very clear. It should not be like quicksand. Aaj thoda kiya, chalo kal kuch aur. It should not be like that. It is very important that if our foundation is not strong, everything will get washed away in a moment, any day. So we should be very careful. The third offense is to consider a bona fide spiritual master to be a common man. Many times, so many times, when the bona fide spiritual master leaves the body and goes back to the eternal pastime of the Lord, some disciples, they think that now my spiritual master is dead. A Vaishnava is never dead. Vaishnava never dies. And this kind of thought is actually an offense, because the spiritual master is always present with that disciple who is completely surrendered. And any disciple who is completely surrendered, you go and speak to that person will tell you, yes, my spiritual master speaks to me. Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashito. My spiritual master speaks to me. My spiritual master gives me instructions. If required, spiritual master will come in the dream and give instructions. So we should never consider our bona fide spiritual master to be some ordinary common man. The fourth offense is to blaspheme the Vedic literature, the Vedas, and such corollaries as the Purans. Many times, yes, this is also very common. People don't believe in the Vedic literatures. They blaspheme. Oh, all these things are just myth, mythology. It is not mithya. It is all, and that is blaspheming. So this is fourth offense. Such a person will never get any mercy, or will never get the mercy of the holy name. The fifth offense is to consider the glories of the holy name to be exaggerations. So many times, so many persons come and they've told me, do you think just by putting your hand in that potli means the bead bag. So if this bead bag is there, we put our hand inside and we chant. So many persons have come and told me, you think you put your hand in that potli and do something, and you're wasting your 1.5 hours, 2 hours. You could have done so many other things. What will you get by doing such a thing? So, to consider the glories of the holy name to be exaggeration is the fifth offense. This holy name is the basis. Everything else that is happening in this material world, in our life, our duties, everything is secondary. If somebody thinks that this is exaggeration, if somebody puts holy name or the chanting in the end, the last part of our daily routine, big problem. This should be the first thing. Maybe we are unable to do it first thing in the morning. That is a different thing. But our heart, our mood, our attitude is what Krishna sees. So we should be careful about this, that we should never think that the glories of the holy name is an exaggeration. Holy name is the Supreme Lord Himself. The sixth offense is to imagine a perverted meaning of the holy name. So to just consider some meaning, concocted meaning, make up some meaning that Hare Krishna means this, Hare Ram means that. We should always just go by the commentaries that our acharyas have given, Srila Prabhupada has given, that are given in the scriptures. We should not try to make up meanings and things by our own self. Some perverted meaning. That is sixth offense. Seventh offense is to commit sinful activities on the strength of chanting the holy name. Now I am doing my Nam Jap, so I can do anything I want because Mahaprabhu has said na that ek hori name tare joto পাপ পাপের সাত দিনায় কি what is that এক হরি নামে যত পাপ হরে পাপীর সাত দিনায় তত পাপ করে. So in one holy name, the amount of sins that get nullified, a Mahapapi who is constantly committing sin every moment will not be able to commit as many sins that can get nullified by just chanting one holy name. This is the power of holy name. Now, if somebody commits sinful activities on the strength that now I'm chanting also, so I can eat non-veg, I can commit some sin, I can cheat somebody, or I can uh, I can do something that my spiritual master has not allowed me to do, then that is the offense, holy name offense. Offense to the holy name, and that is the seventh offense. So when we do that, the holy name will not shower the mercy. We will not get mercy from the holy name. In fact, the holy name will start purifying us. So we'll start getting punishments because we are committing sinful activities on the strength of the holy name. It is understood that by chanting the holy name, one is freed from sinful reactions. But this does not mean that one should perversely act sinfully on the strength of chanting. Just because I'm chanting, so now whatever I do, fine. That kind of attitude, very dangerous. That is the greatest offense. The eighth offense is to equate chanting the holy name with religious rituals, austerity, renunciation, or sacrificial performances. So we may some if we think that okay, by doing some havan or by doing some puja part, and that is equal to chanting the holy name. Array, why to do this sankirtan, why to do this mahamantra sankirtan and all that? We can just do some havan, we can call some people and puja part karenge, we'll just feed some people, and this is not equal to chanting the holy name. In fact, at the time of installation of one of the deities in a temple, in I don't remember which, in India only. So there was Srila Prabhupada was there, and there was um, some saints who had come. Uh, they were invited to do the puja, and there was Harinam Sankirtan going on besides that. And the Sankirtan was very loud. So this person who was called to do the puja was constantly saying that reduce the volume or just stop it for some time. Let us do the puja first, and then Srila Prabhupada said, continue the Sankirtan because it is the Mahamantra Sankirtan that is actually installing the deities. The deities are getting installed means what? There is Pran Pratishtha. The deities are not just idols. They are not just statues or idols and murti. No, they are called deities because because pran pratishtha is done. They have pran, they have life. When you stand in front of the deities, they are seeing you, they are watching you. When you speak in front, when you think something in front of them, they are listening to you. They will reciprocate with you depending on your surrender, your belief, your conviction, your faith. Ye yatham ham prapadyante tam sthataiva bhajamyam. So Srila Prabhupada said that the deities, the installation is happening because of the Mahamantra Sankirtan, not because of that puja part. That is just ritualistic. This is the actual reason. So nothing can really equate the Harinam Sankirtan. So if we have anything, sometimes if we are purchasing a new car or like a new vehicle or a new house, or we are doing a housewarming, most important is the Harinam Sankirtan, because there are so many kind of doshas, just like Pitru dosh. There is Than dosh, Kal dosh, so many doshas. Everything gets cured, everything gets corrected by the Harinam Sankirtan. Otherwise, these things are very dangerous. Many things can happen. And just that puja part, that is all ritualistic. Just by puja part, we cannot change this. The Harinam Sankirtan is very important. So, the eighth offense is to think that the chanting of the holy name is equal to the religious rituals, or doing some austerity or some renunciation, that okay, now I am leaving this, I'm, I'm leaving this thing. And many people say that I'm taking a austerity of, I will not take rice for this entire month, so that my son's health is fine, or my, these kind of things. So these things are not equal to the chanting of the holy name. Just by chanting the holy name with faith, one will get all, will achieve all auspiciousness. Whatever is best will automatically come. So, this is the eighth offense. Chanting the holy name is as good as associating with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, whereas these pious activities are only means of approaching the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and they can also be performed for some material reason. Many times, every year there is this Dhanteras. So, everybody is doing puja of Lakshmi Devi, because they want these dhan to come to their place. So these are all for material reasons. So puja part, these are all means to approach. So when you are doing puja of Lakshmi Devi, who is Lakshmi Devi serving? Lakshmi Devi is serving the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. She is the wife of Lord Vishnu. So Lakshmi Devi never comes alone. If we are not inviting Lord Vishnu, Lakshmi Devi will come shower something for some time and then go away. When she goes away, then everything what she has given will also go away. So, so these are all materialistic reasons. So we should be aware of these things, and then take a call that what should really be done. So it is an offense to equate them with the chanting of the holy name. And the ninth offense is to preach the glories of the holy name of God to a faithless person. If somebody is, now how will we know if somebody is faithless? They are saying ninth offense is that if we preach to somebody who is faithless, then that is preaching the glories of the holy name. So if I go and preach to Reena Mataji that, this holy name, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is very powerful. Now, Reena Mataji may be a new person, she doesn't know anything. So there are two ways to, I mean, there are two categories of persons, Asura and Sura. Sura means those who are saintly, or who are pious by nature, and Asura means who are demoniac by nature. So demoniac means what? They are envious of Krishna. So as soon as you tell them that, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra is very powerful, why don't you chant and try? Immediately they will attack you. What? Have you lost your mind? What is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra? And now you started believing in Krishna. You think that is God. These are all mithya. This is all mythology. So we should immediately step back. We should understand this person is envious. Asura category. But if somebody is innocent, does not know, is not aware, and if they are like, if they say that, oh, is it? What is this Hare Krishna Mahamantra? I never heard about it. Can you please tell me more about it? We should understand this person is innocent, is not aware, and but this person is not envious. So uh, so we should not, if somebody is envious, if somebody is blaspheming, immediately they start attacking you, they start attacking all the other Vaishnavas, they start attacking Srila Prabhupada and ISKCON and Krishna, then we should understand this person is envious, clearly demoniac, and we should avoid them. We should be indifferent to them, to such persons. It's okay, let them do whatever they want. We should not associate with them. If we are still associating with them, that means we are going against the instruction of Krishna. If we are still associating with them, for whatever reason that may be. So we should actually remind ourselves, what is our ultimate goal? Krishna, or is it Maya? Maya means millions of other lifetimes. Krishna means this, or maybe one or two more maximum. And we are going back to Krishna. So the idea is that by chanting, no, And the ninth offense, yeah, is to preach the glories of the holy name of God to a faithless person. The tenth and last offense is to maintain material attachments even after hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. So, material attachments means what? Again, um, so if my uh, parents, or if my family, or if my immediate family or neighbors or friends, if they are not favorable, if they are envious, um, if they are trying to take me away from this path, we should understand that they are all envious. So we should maintain a barrier, because even after hearing and chanting the holy name of the God, if we are maintaining material attachments, what does that mean? That means that yes, we will serve them, we will do our duties. It is not that we will not do our duties. We will do all our duties. We will serve them unconditionally, but we will not take their association. We will not hear about these subject matters from them. We will not take our guidance from them, from such persons, whether it is material or spiritual. No guidance from such persons. Because if somebody is envious of Krishna, what intelligence really that person can have? Nothing. Kamsa, Kamsa or Ravan, these people, these demons, they were highly educated. Kamsa, there is a part in the 10th canto, uh, uh, where Kamsa is preaching to his, no, sorry, this is in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh. So there is a part where Hiranyakashipu is preaching to his mother that everything happens by the will of the providence, which shows that he's so well read. He has read the scriptures. He knows the scriptures. Same with Kamsa. There is a part where he is preaching, um, when Devaki, when Devaki was expecting the child, and then this problem had happened. That there was a Akashvani that, oh, you fool, you are riding that person whose eighth son is going to kill you. So comes up, demons are how, what is their personality? One moment they will be very good to you, the other moment they don't care whether you are the sister or the brother or the wife or the mother or whatever. If their condition is not fulfilled, they are ready to even kill you. That is the nature of a demon, first class demon. So that is Kamsa. Although he was so well read in scriptures, he was preaching, uh, and he was telling that, your first child is not going to do any harm to me. Everything happens by the will of providence. And he was, if you don't know who has spoken these words, you will never understand that these words were spoken by Kamsa. So we need to understand that even demons can be like this. So, but these demons, their mind is always flickering. They are not sudhir. They are, their intelligence is very corrupted. So we should never take any advice from such persons, whether it is related to material things or to spiritual things. Do your duties, but that is it. Don't be attached. The same thing Arjun had done. Arjun was materially attached to the family, and the family, what they were doing? Adharma. They were doing adharma, and it was Krishna's ordered instruction to Arjun that, Arjun, you are just an instrument. I have already killed all of them. Now it is up to you whether you want to become an instrument or not. So it is the same with us. Whether we want to become an instrument of Mahaprabhu, of Krishna or not, whether we want to become an instrument of our spiritual master or not, that is up to us. So we should always keep reminding ourselves of what we are listening in these classes, and according to that we should apply it whenever there is a such situation, when it arises. So uh, the 10th and the last offense is to maintain material attachments even after hearing and chanting the holy name of the Lord. The idea is that by chanting the holy name without offense, one is elevated to the liberated platform, where one is freed from all material attachments. That does not mean that somebody becomes a sannyasi. People have a wrong notion. Being detached is different from being attached. Attachment is conditional. Attachment is that you are so conditioned that based on the conditions you show your love or you don't show love. Detachment is that you are not attached to the fruits. You are doing your duty as much as required. Your love, your duty is unconditional. And wherever required, of course, wherever required, you will serve. If somebody's parents, if they are not favorable to Krishna consciousness, does that mean that you are going to throw away your parents? No, you must serve your parents. But do we listen to what they are advising? No, because they are not still there. They are not in that platform still. So they may not understand the value of this Krishna consciousness. So our duty is we serve them. And by serving them, if they are able to take up Krishna consciousness, then as a daughter or as a son, we have um, I mean, we have become a proper daughter or son. Otherwise, there is no use of being such a son or daughter who cannot free their parents from going to the hellish planets, who cannot protect their parents or stop their parents from going to the hellish planets. Same with the parents. If the parents are unable to give this to their children, then such a parent should not become a parent because they are unable to stop their child from going to the hellish planets. So thus, if one chants the holy names and still has material attachments, he is committing an offense. So, what happens next? We'll see Krishna willing tomorrow. So, that was very, very heavy. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनन्तकोटि वैष्णववृन्द की जय। श्री जय पताका स्वामी गुरु महाराज की जय। श्री भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की जय। निताई गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल।